Well, hello and welcome one and all to Phoenix World Championship, coming to you live from the Nürburgring, this time at night. And we are awaiting for the green lights for race number 1. I'm trying to figure out the camera that is not shaking like mad before we start on the rolling start procedure. For race 1, we have the lights flickering all over the place as a soda course is trying to figure out what time of day it is. I believe it's fine. I believe we should be going in a moment. As safety car pulls up, overtakes the grid, and proceeds. Oh no, the day-night cycle is having a moment. This is fine. Either way, we are rolling for the formation lap. Rolling starts in Phoenix World Championship, and we are gonna be doing, as per usual, 2 races, 20 and 40 minutes. In the first race, it's straight start to finish. Nothing special about it. We just go like hell for how many laps we can muster in 20 minutes of time. The Mercedes safety car is gonna take the cars for 1 lap around the circuit. As you can see, 8 cars on the grid today. Not the largest of grids, but we'll see if we can manage quite an exciting race anyway with this amount of cars. McLaren team is on pole. Gunses takes 2nd place, Salzgitter 3rd, then the Midas and Viperion. Marzen, who hasn't been racing for quite a while, starts in 7th. Cap is in 8th, and Cap is in 7th, and Psychedelics is in 8th position. Who took his sweet time getting on the grid. He is quite some time behind, trying to catch back up to the pack, which currently navigates the beginning of the 3rd sector. And I do have some random noises coming from my PC, which is fine. And looks like the lights are not extinguished and the safety car is yet to leave, so we're going 1 extra formation lap. The time is running, so everything beyond the 1st lap, the clock has started, so the clock will not be stopped for any reason. If we need to go for a 2nd or 3rd or 17th formation lap, we're gonna be rolling behind the safety car for how many laps we're gonna need to form the grid up. I believe the problem is with Cap and Psychedelics. The 2 cars currently struggling to catch back up to the pace car. So something could have happened. We've seen Psychedelics was quite a ways back. And it looks like Cap might be having problems trying to get closer, so they swap positions. I'm not sure what that is about. Meanwhile, the safety car is pacing the rest of the grid. The clock is still ticking. It was a 20-minute race, but now we have 18 minutes left. And the clock will be ticking down. So once again, the race has already started. So now, everything extra we see beside the safety car is just gonna be safety car well, not green flag, but safety car laps. As safety car is getting a little bit bored, almost going for a Scandi flick into the chicane. restraining themselves as much as they possibly can. The light's still not extinguished, so I believe we're gonna be going for a third formation lap. So the issue with 2 back markers is gonna take a while to process. I believe the car of Cap is slow once again, so might be something technical going on here. I'm not sure what is happening. Psychedelics is catching back up to the grid, but the lights are red and the lights are extinguished, so we are getting late, but we are getting the start without one of the cars. The rest of the grid has formed up. McLaren team is on pole. He controls this race start. 3 minutes late. But we are going green. The Lamborghini is taking the field for a run to the start finish and for the first green flag lap. McLaren team is comfortably in the lead. Behind him there is a little bit of a mayhem going on. Saltseeder is going around and literally going around. There is a mayhem. There are multiple cars off the track. Martin was going wide. He rejoins relatively safely, and there is a little bit of a shenanigans behind. Viperian with a bit of damage. Gunses goes around Martin and into 4th place. A little bit of damage on Gunses' front left fender, so something could have happened there. Psychedelics in all that mayhem manages to find himself in a 2nd spot behind McLaren Tim. So one car that definitely benefited from this whole shenanigans is the German in Audi number 14. Saltseeder is in 3rd. Guns has lost a couple of places, currently chasing Saltseeder around. Marzen is in 5th place. Viperian and Nemaitis behind him. Cap is still struggling to catch back up to the grid, so something must have happened during formation for him. I guess we'll know more later. McLaren team comfortably ahead by already 4 seconds. So with all the shenanigans up front, he seems to be the only driver who avoided everything and just get on with his race. Got on with his race and no problems for our leader. Gunses is chasing down Saltseeder. Gunses is the biggest loser of the opening lap of the race. So interested to see how fast he can dice back through the field and maybe try to challenge Tim. The battle between Viperian and Marzen was short-lived. Viperian long ahead, and now Marzen seems slow as Nemaitis gets around him. So both Mercedes cars in one quick sweep go around the Glickenhaus number 22. I believe it's the first Glickenhaus of the season we've seen, with a little bit of rain light action going on, so somebody tell Cameron that this is not rain. He might be a little bit confused at this moment. Back to the fight for the podium position. Saltseeder and Gunses close to each other, half a second between them. Looks like a lot of rain lights are flickering, so maybe something is... there's a little bit of a technical directive or something? I'm not sure what's going on, but... I believe everyone is having the rain light flicker on the back of their car. So that's certainly gonna be distracting, but since it's the same for everyone, you gotta deal with it. I believe that's how we're gonna have a solution for this problem, as Gunses goes for a little bit of a rallycross. This is not how you catch the car ahead, but a valiant effort nonetheless from the Latvian. Psychedelics already 6 seconds behind McLaren team, who's now cruising to the win, with 13.5 minutes to go. Let's see, Saltseeder and Psychedelics, the gap is 2.3, so will be interesting to see if Saltseeder and Gunses are able to close their gap to German in the 2nd place. And if they can, it might be an interesting 3-way battle, but for now, Psychedelic shows 51.8, while Saltseeder and Gunses are only mastering 52.3 and 4, respectively. So Psychedelic's actually getting away from this duo. Behind them looks like another off-track excursion in turn 1 by Marzen, who successfully rejoins the track, but now 5 seconds behind 2 of his rivals. Still the closest battle is the Porsche number 16 of Salzgitter and the Audi number 000 of Gunses. Looks like this is gonna be the battle we're gonna be following for the majority of this race, given our small fields and everybody else being strung out, more or less, throughout the field. One of the cars still struggling, and now Cap a minute behind everybody. Interesting to see that Salzgitter is having quite a bit of damage on his car as well, the rear and the right side. So whatever happened at the start did not get by him, let's just say. He was an active participant in the crash at the start, and certainly stewards at some point would like to take a look at what happened there. Until then, as it stands, McLaren team 149.959, the best lap of the race. Now out of 150, and I believe he'll be the only one to do so. 51.2 from Psychedelics, 52.2 from Salzgitter and Gunses. So the Audi is working hard for Psychedelics, but remember, Gunses is also in an Audi. So whatever is happening, whatever works for the German does not work for the Latvian here. They are in different teams, but they are working together as manufacturers' efforts. I believe that's a Porsche of Cap off the track. Once again, using the Escape Pro to rejoin, and now McLaren team has already lapped him. As he's struggling to stay on the track at this moment. Something is definitely not going right. He is barely staying on the road. What we missed while looking at that is Gunses managed to find a way past Salzgitter, as we're looking at Cap trying to stay on the track, and these guys are gonna be coming up on him sooner rather than later. But Gunses made it past stick in Sector 1, now ahead of Salzgitter in 3rd place. Let's see if he is able to run away. There's gonna be quite a bit of tow, and there's gonna be another slow Porsche in front of him. So they both clear him by the corner, so no worries there. But Salzgitter is staying behind within half a second, and now 5 seconds behind Psychedelics. So the 2nd place Audi checked out, essentially. You have a little bit of worry here. I believe Viperian had to lift a little bit to avoid the lapped car. Now Nemidis is gonna have to deal with them, as they are off the track again. And I believe they successfully navigated the perils of lapped traffic. The only car yet to do so will be Marzen, who after his spin had a little bit of a hard time catching up to Viperian and Nemidis. 53.8 from Salzgitter, so I guess the overtake was a result of a mistake from a German who lost almost 1.5 seconds compared to his previous lap time in this McDonald's liveried Porsche. Definitely not the most stable car in the world, so it is possible it was the reason. It looks like Cap is off the track once again. The camera is trying to pick him up. Not sure where he is. There he is, rejoins the track, and that looks to be turn 1 at this moment. So definitely struggling to stay on the track at this time. But going back, Psychedelics comfortably for now, but we can see the gap is now down to 4 seconds, pardon me. 4 seconds back to Gunses, and he is towing Salzgitter on himself. So the Latvian has higher pace. Now he's able to clear his rival. He is catching back up to Psychedelics with 8 minutes plus 1 lap to go. So it would be wise for the German to actually ramp up the pace, and that's too much! Psychedelics is around, and both cars get by him. Psychedelics loses the car in the S's and trying to gather his Getting his senses back before he's overtaken by more cars, and he falls straight out of the podium position. Down to 4th place he goes, 5 seconds behind Salcedo now. He had the pace, now let's see if he's able to catch up with 7 minutes to go. And interesting, Viperian now sees his prey. And I wonder if he's gonna try to bounce 2:02.4 by Psychedelic, so he lost essentially 10 seconds to everybody around him. That's a massive time loss for the number 14 Audi. With that, Salcedo is kinda losing Gunces right now. 1.3 is the gap between those two. Down to 1 second again, but still it was less than a second before, so Gunces, especially in Sector 1, finding ways to open up the gap a little bit, drop the toe, and try to run away from the German Porsche. I don't think anyone are gonna do anything about Tim, who is now 16 seconds clear. But between them, that might be an interesting battle. Salcedo has to hang on, but Gunces surely wants to drop him as soon as possible. We've heard an over-revving car. I believe that was Cap again. Still not sure what is happening, but I believe they're gonna be 2 laps down on the leader. And speaking of that, Gunces goes for a massive rallycross. He tried a small excursion off track before, it did not work out, and to surprise of nobody, going a little bit too fast in the last chicane, and going on the grass is suboptimal, as now he drops down to 3rd place, and Salcedo regains his 2nd position. Or gains. I'm not sure if he regains it, but he sure gains the position and regains the lead over Gunces, as Mazen is off the road in the penultimate turn, returns back to the racing surface. As this battle now, Gunces 1.7 back. It's a big gap, and he spent quite a bit of time nullifying the previous ones, so it will be interesting to see if he's able to close down and maybe have a fight at the end. What we know for sure is that he's definitely not gonna have an easy time anytime soon after his mistakes. What we also see here is 2 Mercedes teammates having themselves a battle. That's Nemaitis behind Viperian. Viperian going very defensive, very deep, and losing the time on exit. Here's a good view from the roof cam. Left, right, uphill, coming into the, I guess, the S's. In any case, they're very close, half a second between them. And Viperian is not feeling comfortable. He's missing a couple of apexes, and now he dove way too deep. And now Nemaitis has a big run onto the Kiwi coming into the chicane. Not the greatest place to overtake, so he lays off and waits for a better opportunity. But Viperian is struggling right now, and definitely will be interesting to see if a move is gonna happen in the remaining 3.5 minutes. Psychedelics, 151.2, best lap for himself, and now he's 3 seconds back of Gunces. I don't think that's enough, but he's trying his best to get back and fight for that podium. Green flag in Sector 2, that's gonna be Cap again, and 2 Mercedes are catching up on him. That's gonna be the 2nd lap. 3 minutes left. Blue flag for the Porsche, who's trying to get out of the way of Viperian. Nemaitis is trying his best to capitalize on that as well, get as close as he can, but now he's 1.1 behind. A good first sector from Viperian sees him pull away just slightly from his teammate. and rival in this race in this case. Back at podium, Gunses is still hunting down 1.5 seconds. He closed that down just a tiny bit, but not enough at this moment. As we try to find the cockpit cam, there we are. This is perspective from Gunses, as he's trying to find the grip, different parts of the track. Swinging very wide at the kink and entering the chicane a little bit hard. You can see his car, his steering wheel is twitchy at the exit. Means there is probably some oversteer happening, and he needs to catch the car in order to stay on the track and pointing in the right direction, which definitely loses him time. 51.6 from Gunses. He now catches up to Salcido by about half a second. Now 1 second between those two, with 1.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. It might be very close for whether we're gonna have 1 lap or 2 laps. McLaren team 22 seconds clear, and that's about... Yeah, Tim is gonna be very close to the start-finish line when the time expires, so it's gonna be interesting to see. Gunses definitely wants Tim to slow down just a tiny little bit, while Salcido wants Tim to go like hell and beat... Sorry, the other way around. Now Salcido wants McLaren team to be as slow as possible, while Gunses would want him to beat the clock, which means he has 2 laps rather than 1 lap at the end of this one. 1 second between Salcido and Gunses, half a second between Viperian and Nemaitis. Psychedelics in the middle. This is our mid-pack right now. "25 seconds left in this race. Now we're gonna have a couple of laps. McLaren team is already at the start-finish line, and we still have 15 seconds on the clock. He's gonna cross the line momentarily. Here we go, 150.2. 10 seconds on the clock, which means 2 more laps to go in this race. The time is gonna expire very shortly. Here we go, we have zeros on the clock. Plus 1 lap will activate when the leader crosses the start-finish line next time. 0.2 between Nemaitis and Viperian. Salcido and Gunses close together as well. About half a second between them. Gunses is looking for a move, trying to go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Not close enough, but he's hunting down his prey. He has just under 2 laps to do so. Just needs 1 move. We go back to in-car perspective, which is incredibly red for the Latvian, who's trying to find a gap, who's trying to find some space and send the car wherever he can to beat Salcido for the 2nd place. Cyclist is not that far behind, so if these two make a mistake, chances are they might miss the podium altogether. So there needs to be some caution regarding well, where they're going and how hard they're fighting at this moment. They have just about 1 lap left to settle the differences between themselves, as they're entering the last sector of the Blatwood lap. Salcido is a little bit all over the place here. Apex is a figment of our imagination as he continues to ignore them for a couple of turns in a row. Though for Gunses, this is not an exactly overtaking opportunity. His best chance is probably going to come into turn 1 if he gets a good exit, but unfortunately he does a little bit of a wiggle here, so he loses some ground, and a wide swing from Salcido makes sure he has some excess speed coming out of the last corner. Looking at this duo, meanwhile, as we go on to our final lap, Nemaitis is looking for a move. Nothing yet. They're close, but are they close enough? Pneumaitis and Viperian for the final time in this first race. Pneumaitis is looking round the outside. No, he stays put. He waits patiently. Will tune back, but now we have to look at this fight for the podium. It's Saltseeder versus Gunsis, 3/10 between them. Nothing separates the two cars, as they have half a lap to navigate until they're done with race 1. If there are points to win, they have to win them now. Going through, Gunsis is looking for an offensive line to get a better swing out of a turn and maybe get him under acceleration. Nothing just yet. They're still straight behind each other. In that whole mess, Psychedelics closed down quite a bit, but that won't be enough unless somebody makes a mistake. Gunsis goes into the S's a little bit deep. Now there are just 2 turns left for overtaking. McLaren team crosses the start-finish line. He is the winner of race 1. But we're looking at this duo, Saltseeder and Gunsis, coming into the chicane. The last hard braking point of this track. Gunsis too far back, cannot do anything. But can he have a run into the last turn? Oh, they're both off the track! And Saltseeder is off! He is into the grass! And he rejoins very hard in front of Psychedelics, who is on the inside! And he sneaks by Saltseeder on the grass! I confused by Germans, but Saltseeder is off the track and in 4th place. With 1 turn to go, he misses out on the podium. Gunsis goes to 2nd, Psychedelics to 3rd, Saltseeder in 4th, Viperian just beats Pneumaitis for top 5 finish. Mazen will do preemptive donuts as he navigates the final lap of the race in 7th place, and Cap did not finish the race as he settles for 8th position in race number 1 in Nürburgring. Well. As Mazen will be the final car to finish the race and to receive a checkered flag as a reward for his efforts. How quickly can things turn around? Saltseeder was maintaining pressure from Gunsis for quite a long time, and all of that was undone by just one careless exit. I'm not sure if there was contact. I don't think there was, but if there was, definitely gonna be talk post race. But I think both of them just overshot that corner in the hopes of securing the position. But Saltseeder just did it a little bit too far, and the car got unsettled and did essentially the same mistake Gunsis did earlier on. And that is definitely something he does not want to talk about at this moment. So, we'll just let the boys have the time to relax, and we'll be back with you in just a few moments for race number 2.
Hi, I'm Norman Mitchell, standing here in front of BBC Wellness Center in Houston, Texas.
Mid-County area is where we're going. Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches.
We're in Canovanas, the shelter here in Puerto Rico.
We're here at Jardín Pushkin in Colonia Roma.
The hallmark of disasters is you have to do what you do, you just have to do more of it faster. 2017 has seen more large-scale emergencies in sequence than ever before in direct relief 70-year history. The people who know the most, have the most at stake, are going to do the best job with the resources they have are the ones who live there.
Just received a large shipment of critical medicine from Direct Relief.
Some gauze, some bandages for people that are managing the response and rescue efforts.
You're standing strong, united with every other organization providing primary care and critical access to those individuals who have been most impacted.
Drive me down to the pine trees. Looking for lost hopes and dreams. I feel you breathing in your heartbeat. Spinning tires set alight. Fire on the street. These concrete skies make pitch black nights. We carve our names with our headlights. Open your
contact. Marco Bittman, he's out onto the runoff area.
Fully into my car. Keep going.
So this is extraordinary.
This is DTM, proper racing. Wattenshow for elephants.
当今的摩纳哥大奖赛。
Hello and welcome back to Phoenix World Championship as we are awaiting the race start for race number 2. 40 minutes plus 1 lap with 1 mandatory stop at any point of the race. The safety car is flashing bright yellow lights as everybody is preparing to take the start. Everybody's bunched up this time around. I don't think we have any stragglers. So we are expecting to go with just one formation lap, as the timer is just at about 40 minutes. The cars filter themselves into the double file formation. Their lights are red, which means we are going green this time by. The lights will be extinguished in a moment, and the safety car will pull into the pit lane after the chicane. There we are, the lights are off, the pace car is off the track, McLaren team controls the pace. And we are going green in just a moment. There we go. The foot is on the throttle. 8 hardcore drivers are streaming towards turn 1. McLaren team is leading the pack. Guns is in second, Psychedelics in third. Let's see if it's gonna be nice and cool this time around. The leaders are filtering through just fine. And looks like everybody is surviving. Viperian and Nemidus side by side into the arena. Viperian is on the inside, trying to keep his position alive. Nemidus is going round the outside, but not successful. Monson is trying to sneak by, and I don't think that's gonna work, as cars are filtering through. Viperian stays ahead and in 5th position. Meanwhile, up ahead, Gunsis and Psychedelics keep their places. Saltzira is in 4th, but now they're much closer to Tim, and let's see if they're able to maintain that gap to our undisputed race winner a few minutes ago, who just dominated everything, let's be honest. For now, Gunsis is much closer, and interesting to see if he's able to pick up a few lines, stay within the draft, and maybe get some battle going with Tim, and they won't let the Lamborghini run away with the victory this time around. The 000 is close by, half a second, another half a second to Psychedelics. Salt City is falling back just a little bit, meanwhile Viperian is under heavy fire from his teammate, while Psychedelics is putting some pressure on Gunsis. McLaren team is trying to run away. It looks like he's not the fastest car, but he consistently is able to turn a lap after lap after lap, while everybody else just makes mistakes here and there. Another mistake from Gunsis, going a little bit too deep. Seasonality right behind him, looking for a pass, not going for a pass. I think it was just a little bit of a scare tactic from Psychedelics. Showed himself in the mirrors in the braking zone, just trying to scare Gunsis off the line. That did not work, and the Latvian continues into the second place. But now we do have a 3-car train for the podium positions. So interesting to see where that all goes. 1.5, 1.6 between McLaren team and Gunsis. So once again, Tim is running away, and I don't think anything will be able to stop him, unless there is a crash involving himself at some point. But I'm not trying to have a commentator's curse, just to be clear. I'm just discussing potential possibilities. And let's leave it at that. Gunsis maintains the second place. He is losing the ground to McLaren team, but gaining a little bit on Psychedelics. It looks like two completely different lines happening here. Mawson having an issue in the back of a pack. He's going for a little bit of lawn mowing and a bonus donut, just for show points and some more. And he better find that throttle nice and easy. That's not nice and easy. Nicer and easier. That's not it either. There might be some traction control issues for car 22 as well, as he finally finds the right gear, the right throttle input, and continues on his way. Lost about 20 seconds there. Now he has his job cut out for him to catch up to Cap in the remaining time. We go back to the middle of the pack. Psychedelic stays with Gunzes. As I was talking, they have very different lines coming into the last turn. It feels like Gunzes is going deep, almost for a diamond, as he tops that corner across the apex, then turns in harder and gets better speed. But at the same time, Psychedelic stays on the inside, does a proper apex, and while he loses a little bit of sharpness of his corner, overall he seems to be faster through it. And it's definitely a better option for attacking, so will be interesting to see if these two come to direct battle, what is preferable. For now, they're just chasing each other, trying to stay within a reasonable distance. Well, looks like Marzen is catching up to Cap. 4 seconds left, so probably a mistake from car 180, I believe, that Porsche, which leaves 2 seconds. So probably an overtake is imminent here, so we'll stay here on the in-car view of the totally not GT3 prototype. The Brit is currently driving, so we can try to catch this overtake live on our screens. There we go, Marzen finds a way, gets around Cap, and gets someone blinded by the new and improved front lights, which are a little bit of a prototype in Phoenix World Championship. They have been attempted for this round in particular, so we might see them dialed a little bit back for the following rounds. Meanwhile here, Nemedis and Viperian swap places. Now Nemedis is putting pressure on Saltseeder. Missed that storyline entirely, as the Dane is finding some good pace and is now challenging for 4th place. Car number 38 on your screen, the Mercedes. Chasing the 16 Porsche. And looks like for now, majority of the grid is getting away from each other. 2-3 second gaps everywhere else. Throughout the pack, looks like Nemedis is the only one within the fighting distance. So while that's happening, while Nemedis is trying to find a way around, I think it might be as good of a time as any to go on to our first pure sound segment of the day. the chase continues. The big chunk of the 38 Mercedes is looming in the rear view monitor of Salzgitter for a few laps now. There were a couple of attempts of an overtake here. Around the outside was not successful, and then Nemaitis had to check up a little bit, coming up on Salzgitter a little bit too fast at the apex. So he has an overspeed in some corners. Now he needs to learn how and when to use it. Definitely gonna be an interesting battle all the way through if both of them get some good pit stops. Remember that pit cycle is gonna be coming up in about 10 minutes, I would guess. And we might see an undercut or an overcut depending on the conditions. So a little bit of tactical gameplay is also in play, if you pardon me the tautology. Oh, a little bit too hard out of the S's for Nemaitis. A little bit of lawn mowing. Now he's a second back, but he showed that he's able to close such gaps to Salzgitter. It's a little bit of a breather for a German, so it would be prime time for him to get his hammer time on and try to run away. But until then, Nemaitis still sees him. Nemaitis still knows there is an opportunity. And when there's a will, there is a big German hunk of metal with a big ass engine in front of it. I don't think that's how it went, but now it is how it went. 25 minutes, a few seconds, plus 1 lap remaining in the penultimate weekend of 2021 season of the Phoenix World Championship. While we're here, I would definitely want to advertise you all tune in for the season finale. We might have a couple of announcements, we might have a few surprises, and we definitely have championship deciding battles throughout the field, and the last points up for grabs in both divisions and the team championship. Before that, you want to join our Discord for the finale of Phoenix World Championship Support Series, which is going to be happening just before Nemaitis, almost off the track, lost some time there, but stayed pointing in the right direction. Yes, Support Series is going to be happening a week before. Still a couple of battles there. Championship is not decided, so gonna be spicy all the way through at Hockenheim. Couple of interesting weekends in front of us. And for the tiniest bit of spoilers, I wouldn't want to forget about Phoenix Racing Club throughout this winter. It's gonna be real interesting. But until then, we go back to the Nürburgring, where Nemaitis made a couple of mistakes and now trying to chase back to Salzgitter. This is for a battle for 4th, as the trio ahead managed to get about a 5-second gap each from the next car. Behind Viperian stays put, couple of seconds back, not gaining, not losing, waiting for a mistake. And there's a huge drop further back for Marzen and Cap in 7th and 8th. We're essentially just sitting back and enjoying our days and waiting for the pit cycle for everything to liven back up, as the cars casually navigate the circuit in complete darkness if we disregard the big blinding set of lights at the front of each of these machines. And the back, it looks like, judging by the cones of light, .7 seconds is the difference between Salzgitter and Nemaitis. It stayed about the same throughout the lap, so it looks like they're going about the same speed, give or take a couple mistakes from either driver. Viperian seems to have lost a little bit of real estate to his teammate. So he saw the battle. His excitement perked up a little bit. And now he's back down to earth and losing time. We have Cap and Guntzes on the pit lane. 1 lap difference, but the first 2 drivers into the pits at almost exactly the same time. We're gonna be keeping an eye on Guntzes here, with all due respect to Cap, as that might be the more interesting of the 2 stops for the race contention. Looking at just how fast they can service Guntzes and let him back on track. There goes Cap, so Guntzes should be going any moment now. There he goes with all his might, spinning the wheels a little bit. Remember, cold tires, cold everything, and the first lap is gonna be the most difficult on the new set. He does have lap traffic in front of him as well, which does not make it easier. An experienced lap traffic and really, really cold tires might be a bad combination, which might help out Psychedelics if he uses that momentum and this old tire advantage for a couple of laps in the right way. So for Psychedelics, essentially, he needs to go fast now and ensure he rejoins in front of Cap, or in front of Guntzes if the overtake happens now. It's a little bit close for the Latvian, but he manages to get around the lap traffic. Now he's released into the clean air. He lost a little bit of time, but not too much. So it would be difficult for Psychedelics to get close to him, but definitely interesting. Who comes into the pits next, and when is it gonna be? And here's our answer. The race leader is on pit lane. McLaren Tim pits from the lead, and looks like he's expected to rejoin, I guess somewhere between Marzen and Cap. Psychedelics goes into the lead of a race. Looks like Viperian is having an adventure. He's off the track somewhere. Oh, I think he's facing the wall. I'm not sure where he is. He's behind a fence. Is that the pit entry? That is the pit entry. So Viperian put it in the wall on pit entry. That is extremely unfortunate. I wonder if it was a mistake on entry or if he was forced down the pit entry by a spin. Either way, he's now on the pit road and he lost about a good 10 seconds, I guess. McLaren team rejoins 5 seconds clear of Guntzes, so nothing changed there. But looks like Viperian will be way too far behind South Cedar and Nemidas to challenge them unless more mistakes happen. Very unfortunate for the Kiwi in a 0-5 machine. We switch back to Nemidas, waiting for the top 3 to have their pit stops. We are also waiting for the pit stop from Marzen, I believe, the only car that is yet to pit us out. The top 3, a mistake from South Cedar, and there is a punt, and South Cedar goes around. Nemidas goes into the second place. South Cedar flicks the car back on track and rejoins. That might be the chance for Viperian. I'm not sure exactly if Nemidas could have avoided him, but we saw what started it was the half spin from South Cedar coming into the first part of the S's as his rear guard unsettled. Let's see, he skips the chicane altogether, proceeds on track and straight into the pit lane. I wonder if there is damage on that car. He's wheeling the car into the pits. Nemidas is in the pits as well. So Psychedelics is the only car out besides Marzen. Let's see, the distance is not that big between the 2 cars. Let's say it's about 5 or 6 seconds. Viperian lost a lot more, but Nemidas is now clear and he will be in 4th place. Guntzes is coming through. So that's a big enough gap for the Latvian, and that will be a gap into which Psychedelics will slot. Now Nemidas goes, waiting for South Cedar. There goes a car. I'm not sure if it's Cap. I don't think it's Viperian just yet. Saltseeder is rejoining into turn 1 now. And Nemidus is off! Into turn 1, then Nemidus is off the track on cold tires. And there goes his 4th place. That did not last long. And another car, 180 of Cap, is off the track as well. Trying to figure out where it is. That's turn 1 as well. I wonder if there was contact or both of them left the track at exactly the same time. Not exactly sure, but what I'm sure about is that Saltseeder is back where he was, and the gap is virtually the same again. 1.5 seconds between the two of them. Now Viperian is further back, but these two, even if the punt did happen, ended up trading the spots back. That is mighty interesting turn of events. Now they're both on cold tires, and with them warming them up, we're going to pure sound to see the chase. The leader is on the pit lane, and now McLaren team comes through. Gunsis comes through, and Psychedelics will re-emerge in what I believe is a 3rd position. The German goes back on track, and he is 12 seconds back from Gunsis, so the gap grew. But it is of no concern to Psychedelics, who is comfortably in 3rd place, as everybody behind is literally a minute back now. So that's our podium settled unless something happens. But now we tune back in for the fight for 4th place. 1 second between Saltseeder and Nemidus again. 9 seconds back is Viperian. Looks like he is out of that battle entirely. "13 minutes left. We do have one battle on our hands that has been going in a pattern, essentially sinusoid pattern. A little bit of downtime now. We've had a collision between them. We had a car going off. We've had an interesting pit cycle, and now Nemaitis once again finds himself behind the McDonald's painted Porsche of Salzgitter, and the hot pursuit resumes for the 4th place. It started right at the beginning of a race. Nemaitis got around his teammate Viperian, got glued to the exhaust pipe of the Porsche, and stayed there for nearly half an hour now. So last 10 minutes are gonna start ticking down in about a lap. So from my calculations, we got about 8 more laps to go. Something like 8 laps to go. Plenty of time for Nemaitis to catch up and find a place for an overtake. Gaps everywhere else are, let's just say, severe. No racing is expected anywhere else on track. And Marsden, the last car in the field, is the final visitor to the pit lane. I just spent some time watching the first pit stop of the Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus in 2021 Phoenix World Championship. That car was registered for the season, but unfortunately time conflicts and other issues prevented Marsden from participating before. Now he's here and joining the field and trying to fight his way to what currently looks like 7th place, but you never know what happens in these races. We've seen DNFs late, we've seen crashes, we've seen terminal damage, we've seen disconnects, so the best he can do right now is to keep driving until he sees the checkered flag. And I believe that's exactly what that Martini liveried SCG is gonna be doing. While we were looking at him, something happened to Nemaitis, who is now 7 seconds back. Well, Viperian stays about the same distance back as he was, so I don't think Salzgitter managed to get 10 seconds faster. Something happened to Nemaitis, and something happened to his teammates, so a collective brain fart of the team, we'll call it that. As looks like the final battle of the race is has now been extinguished. We have 10 minutes left, and it might be excessive, but with Marsden finds himself on cold tires and finds himself facing the wrong direction in the grass. It's one of the cars going by as car 22 is parked at the side of a road, and now that car is marked as retired. And we were talking about Marsden just turning in laps and trying to complete the race, but looks like it's Cap that's actually gonna benefit from somebody not finishing and gaining an extra spot. Salzgitter is off the track. That is after the arena, the hairpin, and looks like these two just refuse to be separated. Nemaitis makes a mistake, Salzgitter makes a mistake the very next lap, and the gap is under 2 seconds once again. Oh boy, if Salzgitter keeps the 4th place, he sure doesn't do it easily. Whatever these two have going on, it's sure entertaining. And now the gap is down to 1.2 with 8.5 minutes to go plus 1 lap. As I was saying, it might be extensive, but for this race, that's about right. Now let's tune in to car number 16 and listen to the Porsche. 5.5 minutes plus 1 lap. That's all we have for this weekend left. As Salzeder is trying his best to get away from a Mercedes that's been a thorn in his buttocks for the last 35 minutes. The gap is finally over 2 seconds. Both guys are going on the limit. We've seen car 16 wiggle a couple of times already. Interesting to see if now that he has a little bit of a gap, Salzeder will calm down a little bit, manage the gap, or if he'll keep going as fast as he possibly can closer to the end. The tires are not that old. They pitted relatively late. But 4 minutes and 27 seconds as they cross the line. About 50 seconds ahead will be the leader. Or about a minute ahead, so... looks like 4 more laps? I think 4 more laps for all of them. Plenty of time for mistakes. Plenty of time for hard battles. And, well... plenty of time for last turn screw-ups as we are spectating Salzeder. Might be another case of commentator's curse, I'm not sure just yet, but we'll keep our cameras up just in case. You know, anything can happen. (1:49.840). McLaren Tim just making sure everybody knows that he is the leader and he is the guy to beat today by setting yet another fastest lap of a race. This deep, 37 minutes in, doesn't care, still going fast. We are taking on a lap with our race leader to see just how fast he's wheeling the car around the track. It's definitely a sight to see when you spectate the fastest car. She's going... just basically doing magic on her brakes. Going into the turns much faster than you'd expect, but still managing to keep the car planted and going where it is supposed to go. While making next to no mistakes lap after lap. It's sure... as close to pure driving joy as you get while spectating a race. Especially since we're talking about driving at night, difficult conditions, hard to see what's going on around you. Yet still, the American finds the line and finds the way to get around and make sure it's the same every lap, without fail. And thus he is almost half a minute clear of the next car. 23-second gap over Gunsis, has a 21-second gap over Psychedelics, has a 15-second gap over Salzeder and Nemitis, who have a 20-second gap to Viper, and has a lap gap to Cap, who is off the track. Careful with the rejoin. Trying to rejoin, but the rears keep spinning up just a tiny bit. And now he's back on track. 1.8, the gap stabilized. They have 1 minute 20. The leader already took... well, didn't take the flag, but already started the next lap, so it looks like we're gonna have... 3 more? Yeah, probably 3. Maybe 2. Maths are hard at this time of day, especially on a Sunday, so... pardon my questionable calculations for today. 1.5. The gap goes up and down and all around, but overall it stays where it was, unless there's a mistake. And yeah, I'm not saying anything else. 1.6. The timer is expired now, and the leader will have the white flag when he crosses the start-finish line right now. So it wasn't 3, it was indeed 2. And now for the leader is just one more lap to go. We go back to this duo, Nimides and Saltseeder. In the middle of a final sector of the track, they will see... sorry, at the start of the last sector. They will see the white flag this time by, so... If Nimides wants to have a go, he gotta hurry up. 1.3. He gained about half a second this lap, but it might be a little bit too late. He'll definitely need to will it harder than it is, but not that hard. He's in the wall. Went a little bit too wide, touched the grass and hit the wall on the other end. Now the car has damage, he's 5 seconds back. And it looks like that fight is now over. Definitely a valiant effort for the Dane, but looks like he's gonna keep the 5th place rather than 4th, which will stay vacant for Saltseeder. Here they go, taking the white flag, and we switch to the guy who made no mistakes this entire race. Car number 71, McLaren Tim, your race 1 winner, your pole sitter, and after a couple more turns, your race 2 winner. I'm pretty sure he can park on the start-finish straight, turn around and finish backwards. He has 27-second lead over Gunses, and he'll use none of it to get across the line and become the race 14 winner. McLaren Tim. Brilliant performance by the American. Not a single wrong move this entire weekend, and well-earned victory in races 13 and 14. And I reckon some well-deserved donuts are in order. Or a singular donut, because I believe the car just stalled. We've got that utter embarrassment on camera, and now, to compensate, here are some winner donuts from McLaren Team. Car number 71 for Lamborghini. Gunses takes the 2nd spot in the 000 Audi. Decent race for him, got away from psychedelics, and that was that. Speaking of psychedelics, he is gonna cross the start-finish line with lights blinking wildly in 3rd position, a podium for the German, great effort this entire weekend, and a reward at the end of it for car number 14. And for the hardest battle, Saltseeder stays on top, takes 4th with the great effort, but just not good enough for Nimides, who stays in 5th and gets a great result for his team and for, well, himself. The car, number 38, parks in the middle of a bunch. Viperian comes home in 6th position. Bit of a lonely race for the Kiwi as soon as his teammate checked out. Blinks whatever he has. And Cap will be the last car across the line, with Martin classified as the only DNF of the race. Cap a couple laps back from everyone, but still at the finish line with his effort in 7th place. That is the race 2 over. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be time for the interviews this week, but tune in for the season finale. It's gonna be, as is tradition, held at the Hockenheimring. The support series for those that want to race in PRC is gonna be held on October 10th. Make sure to visit Discord and sign up for the event. And the season finale at Hockenheimring for Phoenix World Championship 2021 is going to be held on October 17th. Tune in, where we're going to try to figure out who is the fastest this season. I'm pretty sure it's Tim, but there are a few competitors ready to challenge that. Until then, thank you so very much for watching. This has been an entertaining season so far, and hopefully it's going to be even more entertaining in the finale. Goodbye.